Hi guys and welcome to episode 33 of Beat to the Punch. I'm joined on the line by Riku Haikula. Riku, how's things?
It's fight week. Excited.
Well, I know we're going to touch on this, but are you really? Are you really excited?
I'm excited about the main event. I'm not excited about the card.
Yeah.
And I'm excited about a chapter of boxing coming to an end. So whatever happens after this fight, it's a new dawn in the heavyweight division. It's either back to the same old, which we've had for years, or then it's Ruiz will be fed to, I guess, PBC, or PBC's feeding him to Wilder or Tyson Fury or something else we'll get to before that.
Yeah, but we're getting ahead of ourselves because we have got a plan because we are such socialites and we are busy people. We didn't get on last week and we didn't get to speak about the other heavyweight champion of the world, Deontay Wilder, and his fight against Luis Ortiz. So just a quick recap on that. What did you make of that fight? It kind of went the way everybody thought it was going to go, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. I mean, I don't think there will ever be a way for people to give Wilder credit unless he boxes Wilder for 12 rounds and knocks the guy out in the last second of the 12 rounds. So it went as people expected. I think most people were thinking it was going to be easier the second time around. I think we were predicting that it was going to be a quick knockout, but I think
No. You predicted
I was predicting. You were thinking it was going to go long, but
no, I got it on the fucking money, man. I says he'll get to him by round 7. Boom.
Did you make any money then? That's the question.
No, I'm all mouth. I don't put my money where my mouth is, mate. No, but you're right. You're right. Deontay Wilder, he is so underappreciated. His fundamentals are getting a wee bit better.
I agree.
They're definitely getting better, but he is still an American football player playing at boxing. He just looks, everything is completely wrong, but he always finds a way. And we've seen him find a way of getting to Tyson Fury, who thinks he's a slickster. Now we see him get outboxed with a great Cuban fighter, a very skilled Cuban fighter, and you seen Deontay Wilder just give him rounds, fully confident that he was at one point he was going to catch him, and knowing that he only has to catch him once. But as I said, he gives away rounds. Do you think that is going to be where Deontay Wilder will finally fall down?
Well, I think he says it quite well, where he says he only needs to be everybody else needs to be perfect for 12 rounds. And he only needs to be perfect for 1 second, kind of thing, where he can just 1 second of lack of concentration. But I think people need to give him credit for one thing, is that he's a patient fighter. Even if he's losing rounds, he doesn't change from the game plan. He's patient. He picks his shots, and I think quite a few people breaking down on Twitter how he measured, he set Ortiz up for that punch.
Oh, yeah.
Measuring him, and then he set him up, and you need a good boxing brain to do that. And I think they were saying afterwards that they knew that Ortiz gets tired in the second half of the fight, so why exert his energy in the first half and, keep him at bay, jab, while I think Deontay Wilder has an excellent jab. That's one thing that he's very good at. So I think the game plan worked, and ultimately it doesn't matter if you lose every round if the game plan is to knock the other guy out.
Yeah, we have seen it over the last few weeks, and there's something that's really got to me. I've got to admit, I've been kind of taking a step back for boxing again because I've been a bit scunnered for the Smith Ryder stuff, and then the week before that, cash for Lee McGregor scorecards kind of stuff. But guys like Deontay Wilder, they don't give judges a chance to take the fight away from him. You know what I mean? He's got the confidence there. He's like, I don't need to worry about somebody beating me for 11 rounds because in the 12th round, I will stop them. And nobody will be able to take it away from me that way. And I love that confidence in him, but I also just... He's this kind of fighter that nobody likes to give credit to. This guy's comes in at about £217. And the power that this guy generates in his shots is unbelievable. I was sitting thinking last week, and I wanted it for the pod last week, but obviously we couldn't get on. So I'm going to ask you now, Off the top of your head, can you think of another heavyweight boxer who's got that kind of frightening one-punch power?
You know what? They asked us in the Teddy Atlas podcast, and he said that he doesn't think there's any guy, a single punch power that hits as hard as Wilder ever in the history of heavyweight boxing. I don't think it's far off. The only thing is Wilder is the right hand. He doesn't have the straight right hand. He doesn't have a great, he's not known for his left hook or hitting with both hands like Tyson, but this guy has put everybody he's ever fought against. Some of them aren't great opposition, but he's put them all on the floor at the very least, at least multiple times. Like, he's an incredible heavyweight puncher.
Yeah, I mean,
I can't remember in my lifetime anybody that's ever been, or nobody even springs to mind that's ever been as sort of one guy that actually KOs guys, not TKOs. This guy KOs guys, lights out. The referee stops it when the guy hits the canvas.
Yeah. I mean, I'm 33 years old, and I mean, I was a kid when Iron Mike Tyson was doing his thing to people when he was probably at his best. But even when you watch Tyson, it's not the same kind of. It's not the same. It's the only person I could maybe like them to is like Ernie Shavers.
I was thinking the same, but
yeah, when you watch like some of the old fights, I mean, Shavers had that. I mean, he'd hands of stone, but I mean, but a lot of stuff that I seen after the fight was going on about Deontay Wilder, where he rates in the all-time greats, and
but Shavers never won a world championship, right?
Yeah.
So at the highest level, the power was never there, was it?
No, well, that's it. But you just hear what the other guys kind of says about Shavers and that. But I think it's got to maybe Deontay Wilder is a lot of people reading into this. What is he, 42-0 or something like that now? 40-0?
Something like that.
Yeah. But most of that is it doesn't count. But I've now seen people saying that he should be a Hall of Famer. And he'll be a Hall of Famer. Now, if he beats Tyson Fury, I think he will be a Hall of Famer. But I think you have to kind of scale it back, and you think of guys like Ernie Shavers and that, and they guys were in there with the best. If Wilder came up against any of these guys, he would just box his head off. He wouldn't get a chance to land that big shot because, I mean, that golden generation and they passed eras of heavyweights. They were guys that were boxing for they were kids. They weren't like American football players who then take up boxing and then, or other athletes that take up boxing. These guys were boxing and they were skilled and crafted into the art, and the boxing IQ was superb. It wasn't just like a fit guy.
I think everything needs to be calibrated though. Like, if you think about those guys, they small for one of the heavyweights, they will be cruiserweights, right?
Yeah.
A lot of these guys. So they're a lot smaller than what the heavyweights are. And also, you think about how athletic people are, all this stuff. It's always a hard argument to say, whether an athlete 40 or 50 years ago was better. Like, you and I both are football fans. It's even hard to compare someone like, Ronaldinho, whose lifestyle was what it was back in the day, to, someone like Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo now, because athletes gets better, technology gets better, nutrition gets better, everything else. So, I mean, I think on the face value, yes, those are better heavyweights, those guys of that era, and they'll go down in history as better heavyweights. But Wilder doesn't have the competition to test him. It's really hard to say how good it's going to be if you put him against the best guys. What's not to say that he would have hit Ali and Ali would have been on the floor, because Ali was there to be hit many times.
Yeah. I mean, actually, I heard an interview with a guy who his father started CompuBox. And his dad wrote a book. And in the book, he was saying that like Ali, the amount of shots, everybody thinks that Ali was like an evasive fighter, like a Floyd Mayweather type. And they were saying that the stats don't match that up. Ali took a hell of a lot of punishment for his amateur career to when he retired. They were saying like it was above average, above what the average fighter takes.
Yeah, I heard the same interview. It's the Last Round podcast. What he did, he hit him enough. When he hit him properly, he put him down twice.
Yeah. Riku.
What he did, he hit him enough. When he hit him properly, he put him down twice.
Yeah, yeah. Riku.
He hit him enough. When he hit him properly, he put him down twice.
Yeah, yeah. Riku. I think there's something happened with. Oh, aye, sorry, it's okay. We're back. I was just about to say something's happened with the recording equipment, but it's shown back up, so I'll need to cut that body bit out now.
Yeah.
Where were we? Now, Luis Ortiz put in a brilliant first half performance in that fight. I mean, he really did show that there was a level in boxing IQ between the two of them in there. But as we said, he is a 6-round fighter now. Does Luis Ortiz still have a place at the top of the sport?
If the heart rate medicine still work, I mean, it was a pretty long camp and he looked quite lean. So I think Ortiz is the guy that nobody really wanted to fight and nobody has ever wanted to fight. So credit to Juan the fact he's taking that fight, because in terms of as far as risks go, I can't see people queuing up to fight against Ortiz because, I mean, we'll get to Joshua Ruiz, but if you think about something like Joshua against Ruiz as a fight, Joshua against Ortiz as a fight, that's a very competitive fight.
Yeah, and
Ortiz is the one heavyweight. Even Dillian White against Ortiz. Ortiz is the one heavyweight that nobody wants to face. That's the reality.
Yeah, I was thinking about this the other day, and it was because Wilder is like an athlete. He's, as I said, he's like 217 pounds. He looks like one of the old boxers. Do you know what I mean? He's well sculpted. He looks natural. Do you know what I mean? But like, he still looks like an athlete in there. But if you put AJ in there, who gasses through even just walking in circles after throwing 3 or 4 punches, I mean, that would be an equaliser for Luis Ortiz. Maybe AJ is only like a 6-round fighter if somebody's pushing the pace. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And I think Dillian White's got a case of that as well. So, I mean, I've seen a lot of people saying that Ortiz should maybe, that should be him walking away now, but I mean, if he could ever get in the ring with Dillian White, or he could find a way to get himself into a position to take these guys on, then I don't only think that he would put in a good account of himself. I think especially with Dillian White, he would beat him.
Yeah, and even guys like, the up-and-coming guys, if you really want to show that you're world level, maybe someone like Joe Joyce, face Ortiz. I mean, I'd favour Ortiz in that fight all day.
Oh, fuck, man. That's like Joe Joyce. I mean, Ortiz, we all joke about his age, but I mean, the guy probably is in his mid-40s, and he still could land about a 4-punch combo before Joe Joyce could get a single jab off. He's that fucking slow, man. I don't get me started in that cunt. I can't even bother talking about him.
The robot, Mr. Robot.
Oh, man. Even the memory of watching him fight infuriates me. I fucking can't stand him now, man, But let's move on to more recent stuff. And this weekend we've got a massive fight taking place in Saudi Arabia. It's a great matchup. It's got a great story, but there's not really been much anticipation, is there? It seems as if there's something wrong in the build up to this fight. Do you not think?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm excited because I'm a boxing fan, but my sort of test of how big a fight is whether a casual in the office starts chatting about this fight. There's been a few sports fans, but when the non-sports fans aren't chatting about it or asking about it, that's when I think you sort of know that it hasn't captured the imagination. I think it's partly because it's in Saudi Arabia, not because it's Saudi Arabia per se, but it's all boxing mecca. It's all country which we are tuned into, in popular culture. If it's in the US, you know what's happening in New York. You know what big sporting events are happening across the Atlantic. Now it's in a country that, doesn't have a historical boxing venue. I think it just hasn't been covered as much, or I feel like it hasn't been covered in the same rigor that you'd often have these big events covered out. It's hard to blame anybody for it, apart from the fact that it's in a country which isn't a boxing country.
yeah, that is. I mean, I would say that that's a main factor. But do you think there's anything in it that the fact that Andy Ruiz isn't this invincible monster, this machine who just KOs these guys? Do you think there's anything in that? Think there's anything in that?
No, because I think you have to look at us hardcore boxing fans. So anybody who's listening to this podcast, I mean, if you've found this podcast, you must be very into boxing, right? If you're part of boxing Twitter, you must be quite into boxing. So we'll follow anything. I mean, we'll moan about all these fights, and we'll say we're not happy with this and that, myself included, but we'll still watch all the fights. But the British public love a comeback story. But if this comeback story was taking place at Wembley or Cardiff, this would be the ultimate redemption. But I guess the sporting fans of this country have been deprived from that because they're just, it's happening in Saudi Arabia. That's the reality of it.
Do you know what? I mean, I was speaking to my brother today about it, and I mean, this is how much I've not even been taking notice. I've not even been taking notice of the build up. I'm kind of just sick of that. But I was speaking to my brother today, and I ended up saying to him, I was like, "What time are we actually looking at the fight kicking off?" And he was saying about 9 o'clock. And
yeah, we are.
And I was thinking. That's a time that you would want a boxing event to kick off at. I mean, you think that everybody should be buzzing about this because you can go to your local pub and you'll watch the fight, and if the fight lasts a full fight, and then after the fight you've still got enough time to have a few drinks before you maybe move back home. You're not having to sit up to the early hours in the morning. You're no, it's a nice time of night, and yeah, I'm not really giving a shit about it. I mean. I don't know. It just doesn't feel. It doesn't feel right. But I dare say on fight night, I will get all hyped up and I will be buzzing.
Of course you will. And it's coming off. It's coming off the. So they will show it right. The card will come off right after the Man United Man City game. So it's like a perfect time to show a card.
Yeah,
like that's what American sports is built on. You have these back-to-back sporting events. So if you're gonna have a day in the pub, you go and watch the Man United Man City game, watch Man City batter Man United, then have a few drinks, have some food, and you can sit there from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. Get drunk with your mates, get some food at the pub, and that should be the ideal for boxing.
Yeah, and I mean, if I'm being honest, I mean, I slated Eddie Hearn for taking this to Saudi Arabia, but now I'm actually so thankful because I can have a couple of bottles of wine, I can go and see my friends, and then I can be home and in my bed nice and early and up fresh for the Celtic and Rangers Cup final on the Sunday. I mean, Eddie Hearn he's seen this coming before any of us old firm fans.
Yeah, maybe up in Scotland, that's the big thing.
Yeah, but also what I was thinking, as I was saying, it doesn't feel the build-up's not the same. It doesn't feel as if there's as much buzz, and it doesn't feel like there's all this hype. But I'm going to throw this one at you. Is that a bad thing?
Boxing's a bubble. It depends who you're asking, right? Sky needs to post big numbers for this. I mean, they are charging 25 quid for this pay-per-view event. They are, this is perfectly set up for Sky, this whole event. There should be a big success for Sky. So I think that for them, it's probably a bad thing. For Joshua, probably a good Joshua do the usual media tours, talk shows and everything around the fight. Like, you just haven't seen that, have you? Do the usual media tours, talk shows and everything around the fight. Like, you just haven't seen that, have you?
No.
Haven't seen that, have you?
No.
The priority is for him to win. The priority for him is to win this fight because all the other stuff doesn't matter if he loses.
But what I would say with that is I hate these shows, and you know what I mean. A fight like this, I mean, it's a good fight. But it's no Triple G Canelo. Now that's a fight that should be overhyped. You know what I mean? Like when that was happening, you know, or like what's the next one? It could be like, let's say Errol Spence and Terence Crawford. When that finally gets made, that's a fight that should get all the hype.
Yeah, well, that's hard, but these are hardcore fights.
Yeah,
like these are fights that.
But I think when you see it for every single AJ fight, I'll be honest, that's what put me off AJ. You know, I couldn't be fucking bothered with. You know, it's the same shite every fight, and you know what? I'm glad that I didn't. I mean, the best thing I seen for the gloves are off was Johnny Nelson. That wee clip of Johnny Nelson annoying AJ asking Ruiz if he quit. You know, that was perfect. You know, but I mean that's great. But I mean, there are no two characters. Andy Ruiz seems like the nicest guy in the world. I mean, I want to go out for a pint with Andy Ruiz. You know, this guy.
A burrito, more like it.
Yeah, man, this guy just seems like the nicest guy in the world. So I mean, watching a gloves are off between him and Anthony Joshua, I don't really see what fucking where the good TV comes through to that. Do you know what I mean?
No, it's not. You know, you don't have the animosity, but I think they blew their load early with AJ. So when they were trying to create the beef against Brazil and, you know, Charles Martin and AJ, it never left for his title reign. It's never left. You know, we have consumed so much of AJ that there isn't much left to consume. Like there isn't much that we can be interested in. What more do we need to know about his life? What more can he tell us about, you know, his training camp? Like what content can they build around AJ which provides enough intrigue that I would sit down and watch? I've hardly watched any of the content, the build-up content at all. I've watched snippets of the gloves are off, but I don't need to watch anything. I saw the first fight. I saw the build-up around that. There's nothing anybody can tell me particularly that's going to change my opinions, which we'll get to. There's nothing they can do to hype this up. I'll just watch the fight because it's a rematch ultimately in a location which is not favouring either fighter necessarily. So yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, I've got to admit, see, sometimes this happens with me with boxing. I mean, as I said, with judging decisions and stuff like that, I get really downbeat and I feel quite sick about the sport because I see the kind of things that we do is, you know, if people listen in or if I'm speaking to somebody at work that might not know about boxing, I'm always trying to sell it. You know, I'm always trying to bring another person into the sport. And then sometimes you just sit there and look at fucking, you know, look at the cards that John Ryder got, and you're sitting there going, why am I even watching this? It's a fucking joke. And I know that this weekend, if this goes to the cards, the cards have already been fought in just now. You know, there'll be no point that Andy Ruiz going to need to win this by knockout. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But we'll go on to that later on. But I've quite enjoyed the no getting stressed out about he says this and he says that, you know, and you just let the fight come in, and it's quite refreshing when you go up, oh, that's a Saturday, you know, it's nearly fight time, you know what I mean? I think there's something quite refreshing.
I call it the yard cover build up.
Yeah, and we said at the time that was refreshing. We said that at the time.
The Lions just came to the camp and the rest is history.
Yeah, but do you know what? Let's stay on I know on the schedule we had it a bit more mixed up, but let's just stay on the AJ stuff and AJ Ruiz stuff. For the little stuff that I have noticed, AJ is looking a wee bit like a tramp, you know, and he never looks like that. And he looks different physically, and I don't know. There just doesn't seem something the same with AJ. Do you think AJ's changed for this fight physically and, more importantly, probably mentally?
I think he said, I mean, I'm ashamed to say I was listening to Costello and Bond's podcast earlier, but because Bond does my nothing. But anyways, he said that for this fight, he wants to emulate the heavyweights of the old days. So, you know, the 70s heavyweights. So that's why the hairstyle is what it is. Well, so he claims at least. That's why the hairstyle is what it is. You know, he's going back to the old school. And you know what? Might be
But-
true, might not be true,
But
but
let's be honest here, that's like me saying I'm going to bring back the football players of the old days and I'm going to go and start fucking drinking Scotch whiskey and shagging supermodels and that makes me George Best. That wasn't what made George Best George Best.
I might go back to those days, to be honest, in that case.
Do you know what I mean? It's the actual skill and the hard work that was put in before, you know. But
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt you there, but
Burn, right? But either way, I think what AJ having the perfect haircut, having all of that stuff, you know, it's more mainly to show my focus is the camp, my focus is boxing. Maybe that's what it's trying to show. I don't know, but you know, all that stuff which is to do with external appearances, which is to do with body language, all that stuff I just don't care about. Like I can't make a judgment. I can't make a judgment based on that stuff because somebody just, you know, somebody can just turn up on the night and their body language can be. Because remember the first fight when Andy Ruiz asked to take the belts, everybody's like, oh, he's lost the fight based on that.
Yeah, and that probably turned out to be a bit of a genius move for Andy Ruiz because I've read the Marvin Hagler book, and Marvin Hagler's thing was he's got this beast inside him. He's an animal for the inside. You know, every fight he goes away back to, you know, he puts himself into like an army training camp. You know, he goes into regimented and he does nothing but train, zero luxuries. And then when he went to fight Leonard, Leonard knew about this, knew that he had to be angry and he needed to feed that beast. And anything anybody says to him in the build up, fed that beast. So Leonard was nice to him, and any time Hagler was mean to him, Leonard would just be even nicer to him. And Leonard was saying that he's like, I knew that if I was going to, you know, I was taking something away from him by being nice. And I don't know if there could be like a bit of that with AJ, because Andy Ruiz, you know, he's quite a lovable, chunky wee guy, you know, and he's like a pure working class kind of guy, you know. When he's in the ring after winning the world titles, he's shouting about his mum not having to work again and stuff like, you know, fucking things does people fucking eat up, you know what I mean? And I think it must be hard to, if you're the kind of person that it likes, it needs something to give for self-motivation, it must be hard for to get something for Andy Ruiz to feed that. I don't know if there's any of that involved with AJ.
Probably, and you know, I don't think naturally AJ's that kind of guy that has or wants to have an edge. Do you know what I mean? It's not. He doesn't really like the pre-fight animosity because him and Klitschko were like best mates before the fight, weren't they?
Yeah.
Which was really weird because Klitschko was clearly just trying to undermine him. But I don't think he's the type of guy that he really wants, you know, to have that animosity. And I don't think Ruiz is allowing him to have that animosity because I think Ruiz wants him to be complacent and take him, you know, take him on sort of, you know, this guy's just a lovable, you know, little Mexican guy type thing. And that probably helps to underestimate, you know, Ruiz because of the way he is. I imagine there's a bit of that.
You know, I was thinking about this today, and I mean, I think that there's a physical change in AJ. I don't think he looks as big as what he was in New York. I don't think he looked. A matter of fact, when he was in New York, fuck me, he could have been like the Black Incredible Hulk, man. He was. I've never seen muscles like that on a human being in my life, but he doesn't look to have them. And I mean, we're a wee coot, and he doesn't look to be that big. I don't know if what they're trying to say is that they've changed to adapt to fight against Ruiz, but if you ask me, AJ had all the tools in that ring in New York to beat Andy Ruiz, but he just didn't know how to use them. It wasn't the tools. It was the guy using the tools that let him down. Do you know what I mean by that? You know.
Yeah. I think a lot of the other thing is a lot of people just have forgot that he was meant to fight Big Baby Miller, who couldn't be more different as a fighter stylistically, height-wise, and everything else than Andy Ruiz. But I think we're getting ahead of ourselves to a predictions phase.
To open the British Airways flight door, and what was it? He restrained them, or did he beat them up? British Airways flight door, and what was it? He restrained them, or did he beat them up? Flight door, and what was it? He restrained them, or did he beat them up?
He restrained them, but
and what was it? He restrained them, or did he beat them up?
He restrained them, but this guy was having a panic attack, and the flight, and he was trying to open. He was a Saudi guy. He was trying to open the door or something. So obviously the flight attendants were sort of, what the hell is going on? Worried about what's going on. So somebody finds Dean White, who is probably 6'7" in real life, finds him and tells him to come and calm this guy down.
Fucking Dean White, I know.
So Dean White, crazy enough, Dean White thinks the solution is that he will come and that he'll bash this guy up unless he tells this guy that he'll bash him up unless he stops and starts holding this guy, lifting him up. And now he's like a hero. National newspapers are reporting him as a national hero, saving an airplane from being hijacked, basically.
Well, I mean, it's funny, that story, because I mean, I've got a friend, Michael Haney, and Michael is terrified of flying. And I mean, we go away weekends all the time. You know, every few months we're away for weekends. And Michael emergency exit doors, and I kept holding the handle anytime the flight attendants were there. I kept holding the handle, and I was saying to him, I kept holding the handle anytime the flight attendants were there. I kept holding the handle, and I was saying to him, I was like, Haney, look, and do you know the dirty bastard went and pressed the button and got the flight attendant across and grasped me in, and I get moved. And she fucking moved me, and they were telling me they were going to get the police on to lift me when we got to Spain and that. I was fucking... I was like supposed to be one of my best friends. He grasped me in. So I'm just I'm lucky fucking Big Dean White wasn't on that flight.
You know what? Dean White would have come and bashed you up. Dean White would have bashed him up. For anybody that hasn't watch the IFL interview where Dean White talks it through like he's the hero of the moment, saying that he was going to bash this guy up unless he stopped. And it's like, this guy's having a panic attack. Grabbing this guy from the throat and trying to bash this guy up isn't going to help in that situation.
Yeah, you try calming him down, you know, use your words. Use your words, as my mum used to always say.
Yeah. Crazy.
But let's talk about Dillian White is now 100% fighting on the undercard AJ Ruiz. Is it Dorian Wack he's fighting? Is that how you call him?
Marius Wack, the guy that Bacoli bashed up in.
Yeah. But I mean, let's be honest, the story isn't who Dillian White's fighting. The story is, why is Dillian White fighting, and should he be allowed to fight? Now, what's your opinions on this?
No, I don't think. I think ultimately this is where the problem in boxing is, where you have a guy that's, well, we don't know whether he's banned to fight in Britain, but he isn't fighting here, is he? I mean, I don't see Sky. Why would Sky want one of their pay-per-view fighters fighting on the undercard in Saudi Arabia?
Exactly.
So if he was allowed to fight in Britain, he wouldn't be fighting on the undercard for Joshua.
Exactly.
He's a pay-per-view star, right?
I couldn't agree more. That speaks volumes itself. Dillian White is now a pay-per-view fighter. Why would he be on an AJ undercard?
Yeah, so he's not allowed to fight in Britain. So let's get him to Saudi Arabia on this card, and let him fight. Let's just call it sort of a gimme fight for the sake of it. And to me, it's just, I think it was Rob Tebbett actually that did a good job on Boxing Social on interview this week, calling that out, which is one of the best boxing interviews I've seen in a long time. He called Eddie Hearn out on this and saying, well, isn't this a bit hypocritical? You obviously talk about the importance of the sports and, you know, not necessarily talking about Dillian White per se, but talking about how many drug cheats are on the card or people that have been caught, taking performance-enhancing drugs. But the whole Dillian White thing, if there's no clarity on this guy being able to fight, uh, why is he why is he fighting on this card? And why is nobody from the British Boxing Board of Control saying anything about it?
Yeah, and I mean, a big thing for me here is, as you were speaking about Rob Tebbett's interview there, and in Rob Tebbett's interview, he starts saying, well, UCAD haven't published the findings yet. Has this guy to stay at home and not provide for his family? And he's innocent, he's been proved guilty. And you know, what I thought about is, like, see, if a school teacher has been accused of molesting a child, what do we do if
Yeah,
we can't prove it? Do we let that teacher go on? Do we let that teacher keep teaching in schools until the police come back with their investigation? No, he gets suspended to make sure, he's out the road to keep children safe. Now this has got to be the same. Dillian White, whether he's cheated or whether he's not, until people have found out the truth, then I don't see how it's safe to let him box. I think you brought this up before. What happens if he goes out here and beats this guy and then it comes back that he was cheating?
yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just such double standard. It's incredible. And also, Sky as a broadcaster, I think, Sky are basically fronting the broadcast of that's not really the zone, but they should be asking questions. And for me, it just smacks of desperation of, what the boxing authorities are doing and people bending rules. If you're being investigated, if you get caught in a 100-meter race or any other sport, and your doping ban is investigated, you are not allowed to compete until it's complete. Just by moving to another commission, that's just the wrong thing to do.
Well, Eddie Hearn did say that if Dillian White had been banned by the board, then he wouldn't have been allowed to fight. But I mean, I think that's just like a play on words. I mean, if he's under investigation, it just means he probably hasn't been banned yet, but it might be recommended by UCAD that he shouldn't be boxing in the UK. Do you know, it could be, there's so many shoulda, woulda, couldas, but as you say, I think that the fact that he's actually boxing on an Anthony Joshua undercard, that tells its own story. That for me speaks louder than anything. That we've got a pay-per-view fighter fighting on Anthony Joshua's undercard.
Well, exactly.
When Sky are struggling to find pay-per-view fighters, do you think Sky Sports would have let that happen unless there was another reason for it?
No, definitely not. And I mean, as a promoter, you have a duty of care towards the fighters on the card, towards the sport as well. So I feel like if anything were to happen to WAC and anything comes out on this UCAD thing, then then you should, then the blame lies on Hearn and White because, well, not White so much, but Hearn for allowing this guy to box.
Yeah, well, there is a duty of care. I mean, everybody in every workplace has got a duty of care, whether, even sometimes if you're not even doing the job, if you're a supervisor and you've trusted somebody to do the job and you've not gave them the right, information, right, whatever, then you're just as liable as them as when the job goes wrong. You don't even need to be there. But I've seen Eddie Hearn trying to, it's just a fashion thing to beat Eddie Hearn all the time. And I mean, because he's not the only one, right? So let's get that out there now. Eddie Hearn isn't doing anything that any other promoter isn't doing. So we're just saying this about Eddie Hearn because it's an Eddie Hearn show this week. But Bob Arum's doing it. Fucking Al Heyman and the PBC are doing it. Everybody's doing it, right? So it's not just Eddie. But when Eddie Hearn was saying that it's not his responsibility, that there is where the problem and the solution lie. Do you know what I mean by that? See, if you stop these guys,
everybody needs to. Money, it's our boxing. It's our sports. That's what I say.
Yeah, because I mean, Eddie was saying it's not our responsibility to ban these guys. That's what these bodies are for. But there are too many bodies, and there's too much money, and so if they're ever going to get, if Eddie Hearn ever meant the stuff that he says, then there's no reason why you just couldn't have like like a promoters council. Do you know what I mean? Just like and you know, if they failed a drug test with VADA or WADA, then you can't fight in anybody that's a member of the council's.
TV networks need to take responsibility. I mean, they are ultimately where the money's coming from, right? If you are, if the Premier League was full of players that were caught doping, do you think the rights of the league would be sold for as high to Sky and BT and around the world? And Sky and BT would say, well, we don't want this product on our channel, so you devalue the product by allowing people that are cheating to, be on our platform, because what we want to promote is sport is good and we want to promote the health of sports. The only sports where this doesn't happen is boxing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's every week. We fucking talk about this every week, or at least once a month. And it's the fucking shit that's turning me off. It's turning me away from the sport. It's like there's nothing we can do. It's like this cheating mentality is ingrained. But you go to that, fucking every other sport seems to have rules that they stick to. And like I'm convinced there is doping in every sport, right? Let's get that out there now. But if you get caught doping in every other sport, there's no like grey areas, you know what I mean? You're fucking banned. It's not like Jarrell Miller fails 3 tests and he's not even got a ban. Jarrell Miller's like free to fight because he wasn't signed to fight when he tested positive or fucking some shit like that. Or, I can't remember what it was, but like he can go and box anyway. And it's just like there's no. I think we all just need to accept now that boxing is no serious about peds.
No, I think, well, if you think about that Ryan Martin who boxed against Josh Taylor, so he was caught by UCA, wasn't he? And that was over a year ago. So he boxed just about a year ago against Josh Taylor in the first round of World Boxing Super Series. So he was caught. I think he's banned for 3 years at least, but he hasn't boxed since. So to me, that implies that if he was caught, somebody knew that this ban was hanging over him, and that's why he wasn't boxing in the US. That's why he had a 1-year break from boxing. Whereas in the Dillian White case, which is a bit different, he obviously, we've found out that he has, banned supplements in his body, and that came that information. I don't think UCAD wanted it out, nor did Matchroom. But now he's actually boxing, but we don't even know what's happening with the investigation.
Yeah, and as Eddie Hearn even says in his interview, I mean, when with the Furies, it took 2.5 years to clear up. And really nobody really knows what happened with that. It's all just kind of lost.
Yeah, and, it was very convenient, Tyson's absence during that time, but I think the less said about that, the better. I don't think there's much else we can say. I think we both agree that it's quite disgraceful, the fact that the fight is happening and Dillian White's on the card and there's nothing we can do about it. We'll watch him beat Wack convincingly because Wack is not a very good fighter. So what else can we really do?
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to finish up with something you'd say about the platforms. The TV platforms hold the power to kind of clean up the sport. But do you know what it is going to take for that to happen? It's going to take for one of these guys who are juicing to the max, and it's going to take them for them to kill somebody in the ring.
That's it.
With millions of people watching. It's not going. We're not going to be proactive. We're not going to say, let's do this before somebody dies in the ring. We're going to wait till somebody gets killed in the ring. Somebody loses their husband. Some fucking kids lose their dad or their mum or whatever in there. And that's what it's going to take before people are going to start getting serious. And I think that's a damning indictment on the way that everybody's kind of acting nonchalantly with boxing, because if you cheat at the 100-metre sprinting, you're looked at with utter disgust, but yet you're getting in there and punching another guy in the fucking head, and people just, what's he like? I always thought he was doping. That's nonchalant, and it's a crazy outlook, and I don't know how they're ever going to fix it because it's just became the norm and accepted now.
Yeah, I think it was the New Age Boxing podcast where I think it's Martin that said very aptly, everybody's crying crocodile tears about Patrick Day, and then the next week we have a card full of drug cheats, or we have a drug cheat or somebody that has been caught with a banned substance on the card. So there's been so many deaths in boxing over the last 12 months, and it's very tragic. But we can't have it both ways. We can't have promoters and people talking about how deaths in boxing are a horrible thing, but then again, on the flip side, doing whatever they can to get these guys off their cards that have been caught cheating.
Yeah, and I've got to admit, even the kind of Eddie Hearn in that Rob Tebbett interview was quite honest, to be fair. He's just like, well, I mean, they were available and they've served their ban, so why would I no deal with them? And fucking, how did you just say that for the start? Instead of all this shite, these guys should be banned for life before you go and deal with them 6 months later. I think that's what people are more pissed off about. But as we touched on when we started this fucking rant, Eddie's not doing anything that nobody else is doing. So this isn't just aimed at Eddie. This is Frank Warren's doing it. Fucking Bob Arum's doing it over in the States. They're all at it. There's no willingness to get rid of these guys out the sport, and there's no willingness to clean the sport.
Definitely not.
Yeah, but I'm sure we've ranted about that for ages now, mate. I couldn't even tell you when we started, but I feel exhausted after that. I got a lot of shit off my chest there.
Time to go to bed, mate.
So let's finish up with our predictions now.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, man. So I'm going to So we'll only do the two fights because it's only two fights that we really care about. AJ Ruiz and Hunter and Povetkin.
Exactly.
Yeah, right. Well, we'll start off with the big one. AJ Ruiz. I can see AJ coming out, being more tentative, try to box behind the jab, but I think that the constant pressure will finally just wear AJ down. Kind of the way it was doing in the first fight. I just think that Andy just constantly closing him down, it'll get to him, and I think this time we'll still get another stoppage, but it'll be much later. I see it probably being 9th, 10th round stoppage for Ruiz. Apart from that, I kind of see the fight maybe starting more tentative, but kind of going back to the way it was in New York. What about you?
Okay. I'll give you a long-winded answer. So, Team Joshua clearly made some changes for this camp. So they've brought new sparring, right? They've got completely different sparring. Seems to be a lot better sparring than it was in the previous camp. They've obviously got new coaches in the team. They have, everything seems to have changed. So I think they took an honest look in the mirror and said, well, the camp, how it was set up, wasn't perfect. Doing it in Miami didn't seem to work either. Back to the EIS, back to the grind. They've cut out a lot of media engagement, which we were talking about before. So my view is that no stone has been left unturned for this camp. So there's nothing more that Joshua could have done to improve this camp in any way. So that means for me, the question is very simple. Is the best Joshua, barring no injuries or anything else, is he better than a good or the best version of Ruiz? And I think simply the answer for me is yes. And the answer is Joshua looked awful in the last fight. His jab was all over the place, as we were saying in the post-fight analysis. His boxing brain looked awful. I'm not saying there's any conspiracy theories that he was concussed or anything else happened, but everything that could have went wrong and everything that the worst Joshua that we have ever seen was in the ring that night. And in that night, or on that night, he was the first one to knock down Ruiz. Then he got a bit reckless, and then from there, he obviously ended up, getting stopped and beaten very handily. I mean, Ruiz is a good match for Joshua, but I think Joshua, as you said, will be a lot more cautious, and he'll just use his size. If he has, if he's lost all this weight, as people are speculating, um, he'll use his side. He'll pay Ruiz the respect that Ruiz deserves, and being the supreme athlete, uh, I think he could just eke out a comprehensive points victory because of how the scoring is. Or alternatively, he could probably stop Ruiz later on in the fight.
Do you think that with all these changes made, that this is enough time to rebuild a guy?
I don't think they drastic changes. I think the last camp was frankly a jolly. I mean, you saw Skins and Co. Instagramming in Miami where Joshua was there. They were Instagramming there. It seemed like they were just. It was just before the fight, a few days before, him and his mates living in a camp in New York. Having fun, having a jolly. They didn't take the fight seriously, and I believe that just by the proxy of taking this fight seriously and having a better camp, I think it's enough to probably beat Ruiz. I'm not saying Joshua would beat Wilder or most of Fury or even Luis Ortiz, but I don't think Ruiz is what's. It's quite revisionist history about Ruiz now because nobody was saying any of this stuff about Ruiz before the first fight, and the evidence is obviously there that his fast hands and his style is ideal for Joshua, but Joshua didn't make it easy for himself in the first fight.
I think if you go back to the preview of that fight, I mean, I think we brought it up about people sleeping on Ruiz. Now, I'd seen him once before, and it was against Joseph Parker, and I thought he boxed Joseph Parker's heads off for 6 rounds, and he just ran out of gas. And I think that's what we were kind of saying, that AJ would finally get through it. We obviously never seen him getting beat, but we thought that Ruiz had enough to a bit like Takam, have enough to give AJ some problems. And obviously, I mean, there was just things that night. I know you're saying it's not a full rebuild, AJ, but I mean, when you watch that back, AJ is massive. I mean, he must be about a foot taller than Andy Ruiz, and he gave Andy Ruiz the centre of the ring. Now, AJ is not a mobile guy. He's got all that weight to carry about, and see silly things like that. I mean, for a big guy to naturally start going to the outside.
But those are things that you can. I think those are things that, for me, were out of character. And if you think about, they were preparing to fight against Big Baby Miller, and Big Baby Miller is like the most opposite proposition to Ruiz you could have. And I think AJ is one of those guys that he boxes to instructions. And I'm not, mad on McCracken as a coach, but McCracken can devise a game plan based on the first fight that favours AJ's attributes, and I think that will be enough to keep Ruiz. But part of it is that's the intrigue of this fight. Like, I'll happily say, I mean, I think I've written an article on this, which should hopefully come out tomorrow at some point for Boxing Social. But one of the great things about a good fight is, although we're not as hyped up about this card possibly as we maybe ought to be, but it's very hard to call, and we've got different opinions. And you know what? I might be completely wrong, or then others might be completely wrong.
Yeah,
but
no, man.
That's it. But that's the thing, is that we are effectively saying, to summarise, the key point of my article is, you either believe that what we saw in that first fight was all we need to know about AJ and Ruiz, what kind of matchup it is, or then you believe that AJ had such a bad night that actually he's a lot better fighter, and if he's the better fighter, if the best AJ turns up, that's enough to beat Ruiz. So you're one or two ways of looking at it.
Yeah, I mean, I did say earlier that, I mean, I think that I do believe that AJ had the tools in New York to beat Ruiz. He just didn't really know how to use them. Everything was there for him to beat Ruiz. But, I don't know if it was his boxing IQ or he panicked, or don't know where it went wrong for him, but it didn't have to go wrong. But there's not really much else we can say about that fight. But what about Povetkin and the man who upsets everybody, always upsetting the apple cart? This guy, Michael Hunter.
The bounty hunter. Yeah, I think this is actually a very intriguing fight. I'm quite excited about this one personally. It's a hardcore fight, as we probably call it. Hunter. Povetkin isn't the biggest of heavyweights. I think Povetkin boxed really well against Fury, so I was there for that fight.
I was there or not actually when I was there.
Yeah, that was the Lomachenko Campbell card, right?
Yeah.
Povetkin boxed quite well in that fight. Like, we've often just seen Povetkin have a great left hook, and that's it. Hunter is one of those guys that actually he's probably more suited for heavyweight than he is for cruiserweight, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I think Hunter will win on points. I just think he'll outwork Povetkin, and Povetkin won't be able to catch him.
Well, we disagreed in the last one, but we'll agree with this one. I think that if Povetkin does not get Hunter out there by halfway, Povetkin will fade and Hunter will come into the ascendancy the second half of the fight. I think that Hunter is one fucking tough motherfucker. This guy can take some punishment, so I think it's a big ask for Povetkin to try and blast him out of there, and that's why I think that, and we know Hunter can go to 12. You know, I think we know that Povetkin can go to 12 and all, but I mean, I don't know. I just think that Hunter when we seen Povetkin against Hughie Fury let Povetkin set the pace. You know, Povetkin could take a breather when he wanted to. I don't think Hunter will do that. You know, Hunter will set the pace. He'll not give Povetkin a rest, and I think that when it gets to the halfway point, that's when you'll see Povetkin starting to fade. And Hunter will maybe just, use his skills. I mean, people seem to sleep on Michael Hunter, but Michael Hunter was a really good amateur.
Yeah, he was. He was in the Olympic team, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Or was he in national team or Olympic team? I can't remember, but yeah, he's
really good amateur.
He's very good amateur, yeah.
And he gave Alexander Usyk a good fight. But when he was at cruiserweight, gave Usyk a decent fight. And then if he's come up to heavyweight, he's been wrote off. He's too small all the time, and every time the guy just comes through, and I've got a lot of time for him, and I think that he beats Povetkin. I think that the AJ or Ruiz, well, it would probably need to be AJ, but if AJ wins that, then that's going to be Joshua's next fight.
Yeah, it could be. Or it might be a fight which will be perfect for someone like, let's see what happens with Dillian White, but yeah, he's a guy that I think he'd give problems to a lot of these guys. I wouldn't mind seeing him against Usyk in a rematch, a heavyweight.
Yeah, I would like that and all, yeah. And I mean, I seen Eddie Hearn talking about Hergovich refusing to fight Martin Bakole. Saying that he was a beast. No, that was actually quite an enjoyable fight. And again, Bakole probably got after a better start, but Michael Hunter just grinded him down. And for about the fourth round onwards, there was only one winner in that fight. But I would like to see that again. That's another fight.
Yeah,
that's another fight.
I think Bakole got a lot of stick based on that fight, and I think probably unfairly if you think about actually how good of a fighter Hunter is. If Bakole reaches the heights of Michael Hunter, a heavyweight, he's done quite a bit. He's probably done above people's expectations.
Yeah, and I know that. I know before that fight. I mean, just on a side note, Martin was kicked out the country by the Home Office, and I know that in the build-up there was a lot of problems trying to get him back, trying to get his what's that called? His visa or whatever it is. Visa. There was a lot of problems, so he had to keep spending time outside the UK. So his training camp was full of that. But that's just a wee side note. But
no, but that kind of stuff, honestly, people often overlook and don't realise that it's exactly that kind of stuff that really ruins a fighter's camp and ends up actually being such a big issue. Ends up being such a big issue for fighters and why they can't perform in the night.
Well,
It's
I mean,
everything.
I
It's
think
everything but the fighting. Often that, or but anything but to do with the training camp in terms of the physical activity, which ends up ruining it.
yeah, definitely. But Riku, that's us touching an hour. I know you've got an important phone call to come on.
Right, it's not important, but I just have to do it.
Yeah, well, you've got a phone call to do it. I've got the housework to do before my wife gets in for her friends. So we better wrap it up there tonight. But thanks again for coming on, Riku. It's been good catching up with you again, mate.
Pleasure. All right, take care.
Right, thanks
Thank
very
you,
much.
everyone. Cheers.
Bye. Bye.